All right, guys, what's going on? Just real quick note, I had an update to my mixer, which brings all the noise in. It doesn't affect Dan, which you'll hear him coming out of both sides, but it does affect me, where it makes me mono instead of analog. The update that needed to be installed into my computer is now installed, so it shouldn't affect any further episodes, but it is definitely going to affect this one. You're only going to hear me out of the left side. I don't know what Focusrite did, but their last update made it go mono, and then they had a new emergency update that they didn't tell anyone about that you have to actually go find to figure out that it's in mono, and that you need to install this plugin to make sure it comes in analog. So I apologize for that. Shouldn't affect any future episodes. We'll see you soon.
Nothing is what it seems. The feeling of belonging to your dream. Listen to your heart when he's calling for you. Listen to your heart. There's nothing else you can do. I don't know where you're going, and I don't know why. Listen to your heart.
All right, everybody, what's going on? I am the one, the only, the WOOKIE, joined here by Dr. Sheep. What's up, Sheep?
Woo! I'm here.
Are you excited today?
I'm excited. Well, sort of.
How excited can you be?
This excited.
Well, I mean,
yay!
So we had a plan for the show today.
You had a plan for the show.
I had a plan for the show today, which is kind of my job, right? Like I make the outline and then I show it to Sheep, and he just goes, okay. And then we move from there. And then news drops like in the middle of the day. And then you go, oh, wait, what? And we have to now switch gears. And it always happens on a Thursday or on the Friday immediately as I'm editing the show. New news drops all the time. But before we get into that, we have to go into our standard day of Sheep. Why do we suck at Keyforge?
Well, my sucking is directly related to the store called Ollie's.
Mm-hmm.
And they sold me cheap AOA. And I keep playing it.
I can't stop. I can't stop whenever I want to.
It is abysmal. Oh my gosh.
AOA is abysmal? Or your play is abysmal?
The AOA I've been opening is abysmal. I can understand why Z said he would never play another AOA game in his life, right? Because these decks I'm opening, I'm going 0-4 on our weekly Chainbound nights with these random decks, and I'm not even playing the same game.
Have you scanned? You're not. Well, what game are you playing? Maybe that's half the problem.
I'm playing.
Maybe you're playing
cards
and they're playing chess.
Whatever.
I mean, they're that bad?
These ones have been that bad. I have consistently got Amber Control decks of 1 and 2.
Have you scanned any of them in?
Bad. Oh yeah.
What's the? Okay,
yeah,
what's your top SAS?
63.
That's the top you've pulled?
Well, so I'm being patient, and each time, we run 2 events a week, a Chainbound and a Sealed, and that's what I do is I open an AOA deck for them, and however bad it is, no matter how miserable it's going to make me, I play it. And it is
so the itch hasn't hit you yet, is what you're telling me.
To just rip open the other 4 boxes I have?
Tear open mercilessly, and just go to town. That hasn't hit you yet?
Nope.
Is it because of the fact that we're not going to get a new set for a while? Is that held you back? Or is it it's
because it's AOA and none of it's going to actually be good as much as I want to gamble that. And I've really tried since the start of Dark Tidings. I've really tried to switch to a slower approach and with the number of opportunities I have to play, I've played just about every deck I've opened in the last that I've opened. I don't know, 3 or 4 months. So they're getting used before I put them in the shredder. But that's where all these AOA are going,
They're
right into the shredder box.
Fair enough. I kind of thought about like trying that with Dark Tidings here a little bit, because I have a lot of Dark Tidings, and I know most of it's not very good. I'm hoping maybe to find that diamond in the rough. You know, we all maybe find that one deck that maybe punches out of its weight class. Normally not the case, but maybe there's one in there. I actually have to make it. You know, make
Thank
it to
God
a Chainbound Knight.
Dark Tidings only has like cubic zirconia in it.
I don't know what that means.
Fake diamonds, man.
Fake diamonds?
Fake diamonds. There's no real diamonds in Dark Tidings. No,
there's gotta be though.
That's not true, but it is definitely. It is not produced. It's not produced any crazy smokers, but it does have that AOA feel where the good decks play significantly differently than the good decks from other sets. So their meta crushers, or they're interesting because they don't play in the same ways that the decks from the other sets have.
Is that a good way to like run a set? Like every now and again you just get these weird, like, here's this oddball, and statistically it shouldn't be any good, but if you could figure it out, well, it's okay. I don't even know. Can you say it's okay? It's good if you figure it out? Is that a good way to run a set? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
A lot. But anyways, that's our Why You Suck at Keyforge moment for this week. Big
dedication to playing bad decks, even though you know they're bad.
Well, I mean that's your fault, not mine. I mean, yes. I think you like the pain a little bit.
I think we sucking at Keyforge is often a self-inflicted problem.
I mean, I've warned you for like 2 years now, so I can't.
AOA is still the best set. So
yeah, AOA is still the best set by far.
Best set. Just not the AOA I have.
Oh, is that what it's? Everyone else's AOA is good, but yours?
Yeah, actually, the other night, this deck I opened is a Might Makes Right deck with an Appenseed and 4 Tadlins and 2 Groggins, and some other meat in there. And I definitely did forge like 9 Might Makes Right keys over 4 games. So that was kind of cool. It was definitely a deck that does Might Makes Right.
I'm surprised Might Makes Right never really made it as like a...
That's because meaty creatures don't do anything else.
Right, but if you have a meaty creature and you have Might Makes Right, like...
Yeah, but then
makes that meaty creature good?
It's the opposite of a one-sided board clear. Oh, let me kill all my stuff so you can just reap and, your guys stay on the board and can just make 3 keys in the next 3 turns, where I just gave up everything to get 1 key. Like, Might Makes Right is a cool closer if it works.
You know other card I'm surprised never made it? The Flex.
Because it requires the creatures to be ready.
This is true. I mean,
the Flex, if it read stun a Brobnar creature, gain some space dollars, it would have been a much better card.
It would have been a better card, but I still think it never got enough play. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I always thought those were a couple cards me and Z identified as being like, these are going to be like, we thought they were going to be solid hitters, and we just missed on completely. So, I don't know. I still think somewhere along the way, it's got it. I don't know. They got to do something.
Are we going to talk about Winds of Exchange next?
Well, I figured we should go through the big news first, and then get into Winds of Exchange. Because the big news today, and if you guys are following along in...
This isn't news.
This isn't news?
This is rumoring.
No, this is like, is it rumoring?
It's rumoring. This is not a single. It's a single source rumor, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
That has been picked up by other places, but go ahead and say what it is.
All right. So basically, the big, and I guess we're gonna say rumor, is that Asmodee is being sold by PIA. I don't know if that's supposed to be Pi or PAI Partners, which is the venture capital fund that owns them, for a reported 2 billion euros. Goldman Sachs is the one, like, I guess, going to be doing. I don't understand why Goldman Sachs needs to get involved for a sale. Maybe you have insight on that, but for some reason they need to be involved. They're the ones rumored to be doing the sale.
They probably have to verify that the money really exists and move it around. That's a lot of money.
I mean, it is a lot of money. I mean, you don't just walk in with $2 billion and go, here you go.
Yeah. I don't think you just be like,
that's not how that works.
Here's my super gold amber credit card, and you can take my $2 billion off of it. I feel like that's not how those kinds of assets work. But I don't know. I don't work in those dollars.
This doesn't have to go through any sort of, like, as far as I'm aware, antitrust laws. So what does this mean? I mean, Asmodee being sold. I mean, let's just say the rumor is true. Asmodee is being sold.
Well, so here's a thing, and it is definitely interesting. Is like, okay, so all this news is basically predicated off a Twitter post from Stephen Bonacore, who is pretty tied into the board gaming world, could definitely have knowledge, but that's the only place I see this source of news coming from. But if this venture capital place knew they wanted to sell Asmodee, that actually does make some sense why crazy cost cutting has been going on even at the FFG level, because if they got a mandate from the top to bottom, you need to cut, like, that's what you do when you sell, right? You cut all the fat, you make your costs look really low, and then you're selling everything still, so it makes your costs look low and your profit look high, and it sort of falsely inflates your profit margin. It sort of leads to a better sale price.
It makes you look considerably more profitable than you are, right? Is that how I'm understanding it?
The companies buying it know that's kind of going on, because they got to look over a period of time.
Books, right?
Yeah, kind of depends on the deal. I'm sure there is, at that kind of money, some books are being looked at.
Because I was trying to investigate, like, so last night I popped in as Lokar was running his sealed event, because you and I had kind of were doing some sleuthing around, because I had asked Aaron to come on the show. Basically, I was given the whole, like, hey, now is not a good time. I don't really have anything to say. I can't talk about the algorithm. I really can't speak on anything Winds of Exchange, and I really can't give you any sort of timeline at this current time. And, by the way, tell Dan that I'm sorry I blew him off last time. Didn't mean to. It just kind of happened. That's kind of when the whole algorithm broke. And I'm like, wait a minute, that was months ago. Like, literally 5 or 6 months ago.
4 months ago.
Well, it was in May.
Yeah, that's 4 months.
Okay, 4 months ago. So literally between May and now, you guys knew the algorithm was broken and didn't say a word. Which kind of got me a little fired up.
You don't tell people something's broken if it's not currently impacting your ability to deliver the product to them, right? Because your hope is you fix it before it becomes a problem. Clearly, that's not the case here. Like, the company I work at, if we have a core piece of equipment go down, we don't call up all our customers, oh, this is down, we can't make anything more, until we have expected orders on the books that we can't deliver, or they're asking for something and we can't deliver it. That's when they get to find out something's broken, because until then, we just assume we're going to get it fixed in time. Well, you don't. Every time something breaks or goes wrong, you don't immediately get on the horn and be like, oh, we've screwed something up. God, if you did that, every company would look totally incompetent.
All right, fine. Like, I just immediately got mad. It's like, wait a minute, you've known this for months now, and you didn't say anything? Like, I guess when you put it that way, now, Jupiter jumped on me right away and was like, this game's going to be fine, and they have plans for it. And I'm like, I understand, like, they have plans for it, but in reality, it's about the consumer, and if the consumer doesn't consume, then the game just kind of, like, it's not going to continue to do anything. And then we get the news today that there's a, I guess, a rumored sale, and I'm like, oh no. Like, I guess my blood pressure didn't boil, but my anxiety definitely went up. Because you now have a company who's coming into a product that's broken. And I guess I don't know how this works because they're buying Asmodee. What else does Asmodee own besides FFG?
Asmodee owns...
I know they own quite a bit.
A bunch of companies that I am not going to... that I'm not going to try to guess at. But here it says Asmodee is the parent company of FFG, Atomic Mass, Z-Man, Catan, and Days of Wonder, along with other companies.
So Asmodee
I think
owns a lot of games.
Yeah. So, like, my understanding of the way venture capitalists and this kind of buyout works is when you buy a company, you either buy it for one of two reasons, and that's because you think you can get it to make more money, right? You did what this PAI did, because apparently they bought it for $1.2 billion 3 years ago.
See, but I thought it was like there was another company in here that owned a hunk of it too.
Well, PAI,
which was Euro,
it says,
or Eurozero or Eurozeo.
That's who PAI bought it from.
Okay. I thought they were the current owners.
Like, so the past few years, right? PAI has owned it. They have, I imagine, not in, like, private equity rarely invests, but they let Asmodee use its profits to some extent, right, to invest in itself and build itself, and now they get to sell it for this big chunk of money, right? And that's how they make money. The other reason companies buy companies is to essentially sack all their negative assets into it. So because a company like Asmodee has a lot of positive value in certain areas, there's this way where they sell off the good parts of Asmodee and then have Asmodee buy their low performing assets they own within their equity thing, and then when they dump it later, they dump all of their, like, they use it to
dump their debt.
Yes, they use it to dump their debt, right? So
and then they take the company through a bankruptcy. Which is typically what happens,
Yeah, something like that. That's my understanding. This is where we need to get JM back on, because he does this kind of fancy dollar stuff way better than I do.
He's around, but we need somebody, like, I don't know how the venture capitalist game kind of works.
But yeah, either they see it where they think this company has a future and can be worth more money,
right? So
then maybe we get to see growth again.
Well, didn't Toys R Us do this? Or somebody did this to Toys R Us? Right?
So
where they kept buying things, and then, like, they would dump their negative debt onto it, which basically closed Toys R Us. That's
my understanding. What Toys R Us happened at the end of Toys R Us, that's exactly as a venture capitalist place. They bought it, and then they just dumped all their debt on it, however that goes, and that killed them.
Which is crazy to me that you can accrue a bunch of debt and then just buy another company and then just go, that's now yours. And then just declare bankruptcy and keep moving about
we're done with that company. Yep.
Right.
It's crazy tax law stuff, right? Crazy financial laws. I'm not well versed in them.
I'm not either.
So it really depends what this next company decides they want to do with it, right? Like, if they think they can turn it into a bigger pile of money, then they do that. And if they don't think they can turn it into a bigger pile of money, it could be bad.
Because now I'm looking at a lot of it, and Justice Blinded Eric is writing in there. He seems very, like, not optimistic. He's very doom and gloom about it. And Drazcor in the chat writes to me, I wouldn't draw negative conclusions. Not surprised. Not surprising. Private equity wants to sell after a few years. The whole question is who's going to buy it and what they will do. Really hard to know. And it is like there's been a couple rumors out there. The big rumor I've seen is Hasbro, which I don't know if I want to believe Hasbro. I don't know about Hasbro. Like, that doesn't seem like they have Wizards of the Coast. That's Hasbro, right? Wizards of the Coast. WotC is owned by Hasbro. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Didn't Hasbro spin out WotC again recently or something?
Well, I mean, it's always its own. It's always its own company. But
right, like Cloggin is saying, none of this says there's an actual buyer. So they may be trying to sell themselves, and there is
because
an actual buyer, or maybe it's already.
He says right here that it is being sold, not up for sale. Asmodee being sold.
You're putting a lot of value on one tweet from a guy who is not part of Asmodee.
And then you're not wrong on that either. But like, I mean, this guy is normally in the know. Right? I mean, and again, keep reading the thread in the tweet. I shall.
I sure don't like to read Cloggin, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah, reading's tough for us.
Yeah. We don't want value. We just want to talk.
I mean, all I see is him saying he's not a financial advisor.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
he must be talking about the part where it says Goldman Sachs is looking for a buyer for them. So I guess that's where they become involved, as they say, like, oh, we'll find you somebody, like a real estate agent, kind of, I guess, for business. How many of us would it take to buy Keyforge? That is a good question. And when we're at that bridge, X-Ray, we will cross that bridge. But
I got 650.
Yeah, yes. I mean, hey, I'll get in on that. But I mean, the big question is, okay, so now, I mean, I guess I don't know if there's a lot of questions that this raises for me, but the biggest one is, and the main one I've heard is, it's Hasbro. Does Hasbro want another gaming company? I don't think so. Like, I mean, I don't know, because let's be honest, they took over Magic, and Magic sales have never been better. Never been, like, the last financial report that they had, and I know financial reports are very, very, like, one-sided when they come out. It was, we are making more money than we've ever made before in the history of Magic. We are making more money. Now, I don't know if that's because, I mean, obviously they have all these crazy, what are they called? Loot drops, loot bins? I don't know. Whatever it is.
Boxes? What are we talking about?
Those boxes that they release, like, they're reprinted cards and you can just go buy them.
You're talking about the vault things from Magic? I wasn't listening to you. Sorry, I was trying to read to see how much Hasbro might be worth to know if they can even buy a $2 billion company. But it looks like they definitely can.
Oh yeah, Hasbro 100% can. Like, Hasbro owns weird stuff. Like, they don't just own Magic. Like, they own, like, weird stuff, like pancake mix batter and syrup companies. Like, they own some weird things. But I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see. That is big news if Asmodee is going to sell, because that does, I mean, that does, when a venture capital firm kind of walks in, I mean, as far as I know, and like you said, when you're trying to sell a company, first thing you do is cut the fat. And a broken game seems like the fat.
Yeah, you are looking at way too...
Am I digging too deep?
You're digging way too deep into the minutia of a company that size.
Isn't that how they do it? No?
No.
Okay.
No. Well. I doubt it.
I mean, I my anxiety did raise a little bit.
My company at work right now is going through ownership transition too, and unless you have a real ear on the inside, you have no idea what's going on. And like you can only project if you think your new owners are sellers, buyers, investors, are they just looking to take as much money out as they can? There are lots of different things owning a company can mean, and there's no point in spending a ton of time guessing, because until owners are there and they choose what they're doing, that's all it is. It's just total guesswork. Like it could mean great things. It could be a company that says we think the board game market in the next 5 years can double, right?
And
so
I definitely
we want
think
to
the board game market. Well, I don't know if the board game market. I think
I don't know.
Depending on how the pandemic goes, I definitely think this is a market that could expand, right? Like,
well, there's some people who think the board game market is on a bubble because it has expanded super hard in the last several years, and the pandemic is maybe extending that kind of.
I would almost tell
bubble?
you you're 100% correct on that. Like, it is like look at things like Magic and Pokemon. Like, they are selling at a rate that is unmatched. Like, I've never gone to Target and they've just been out of card games. Never in my life have I just gone and been like, I want to pick up Pokemon, and I can't.
Yeah, but it wasn't just
out.
Target. Like,
no,
it was
a lot of
the
stores
places. Too. Everybody, like the flags were running low too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
stuff is but now it's even weirder because distribution is a disaster and shipping is a disaster. So even getting cards now is hard. But yeah, I don't know if Asmodee sells. It may mean a ton. It may mean nothing. Like it is just a thing that's going to happen. And I mean, really,
this is why
spending a lot of time speculating. Nah.
I need my weekly dose because like this rose my anxiety a little bit. But like when you say it like, oh, hey, that is a level of accounting that's not even being considered right now. And the odds are you're 100% correct. Like, the company that buys us more than likely isn't looking at like, Keyforge. That seems like a waste of resources.
They would look at FFG as an entity under there, right?
Right.
And then, it's totally dependent on actual percentages and numbers and what, like, if Keyforge is even a serious blip in that thing, and I really don't know the numbers well enough to even hazard a guess.
Nor will we ever, because I attempted to find those numbers all yesterday, and I found
all
squat.
Of that is private company, so you don't get to see it.
They don't even, their financial reports are piss poor too. Like, they're real bad. Like, I'm looking at them, and not like real bad in like the negative sense where like, you don't, like, oh, they're just hemorrhaging money. They're real bad. Like, the amount of information that you're given is so minuscule that it's like not even worth looking it up. It's just silly. But back into the algorithm, I just want to make sure you guys, I don't know, is Sky Jedi doing like any sort of Patreon for his what do you call it? Algo bourbon? Am I saying that right?
That is what he's calling his deck creator.
Right. Is he doing any sort of Patreon for that? Do you know?
I don't know if there's a Patreon specific. I doubt there's a Patreon specific to that, but I believe.
I know he has one, so
yeah.
I just wanted to kind of shout him out.
Yeah.
I did reach out to him to see if he wanted to come onto the show, talk a little bit about his algorithm. He said he wasn't really going to talk about it really outside of what he's releasing on Twitter. So obviously make sure you're following him on Twitter. It is interesting every day watching the things he's doing. He is like even adding like, I guess, homemade cards into some of these where like they're able to enhance power and toughness of one of the creatures, like a normal enhancement would be in your deck.
The bruise. Yeah, I saw that. And so he's definitely got a Sky Jedi Patreon because I'm a member of it, because I see I am in his private, at least in a
Discord
channel in his private Discord or however that works. So Yeah, you can definitely give the guy some money if you want to see him keep making awesome Keyforge content. Plus, he is the author of all the fantastic bots we use in our Discords, or many of the not all of them, many of them.
I just wanted to give him a little shout out there, just, because I think what he's doing, number one, is great. As far as the algo bourbon, I don't know if I'm saying that right. If I am, you can stop me and tell me what I'm doing wrong. But other than that, yeah, we'll go with that for now. But give him some cash. He's doing some fun stuff over there. But
oh, hey, we have a Patreon too, and you could give us some cash.
We do have a Patreon, which at the $5 level, you guys can get ad-free shows, so you can check that out.
So, how much does it cost to get Wookiee-free shows?
Wookiee-free shows?
Where you just mute yourself out of the episode?
I don't know. If that's a tier you would like, let me know. I can make it, I guess.
And then it'll be twice as much for me to get muted out.
And then it's just Dan, and then basically it's just going to be Dan barking at clouds for an hour.
For only $40 a month, we will send you 1 hour of silence.
My children might be in the background, though, so, got to record that. All right, let's get into Winds of Exchange. Obviously, this is something we wanted to talk about last week. Just completely ran out of time. Winds of Exchange is a set coming to you maybe eventually. We don't know
maybe
when.
Maybe digitally.
Maybe what?
Maybe digitally.
Maybe digitally.
Digitally.
Yeah. I don't think so. Well, I do think so. But
well, definitely. I mean, if nothing else, we'll be playing it on the Crucible.
Absolutely. But one thing we did notice, we did get a new card. I'm trying to search it up now, and I'm like riding this weird struggle bus of why I cannot find the card that was leaked and the box art. Why am I having so many issues today? And it's right in I know it's right in Keyforge too, and I had it saved in my browser, and it's just now gone. Just gone. Bye-bye.
All right. So the card was Borka Rick. It's a Mars card. He's a Martian and a rebel. He's got 4 power and no armor. And he says, each time a Mars card is discarded from your hand, make a token creature. And he's got some flavor text, because apparently cards have that. It says, join me, and the revolution will never die. And he's, as some people have pointed out, he is a Martian dude wearing red and white armor instead of green and white armor. So it's time for some Martian revolting.
It's time for some speculation, is what it is, sir. Because I am speculating about this, that we might see Mars split into 2 different houses. Nah?
So we're going to have Mars and Smars?
Well, I mean, I don't know what they're going to call it. I'm not part
Rams?
of that team. But, I mean, if you're having rebels, obviously
Venus?
there's some form of revolution, right? Which would in turn to me that a house is having some form of civil war. Clearly, maybe it's Mars. And then not only that, like you said, like he's not wearing traditional Mars, like purple and green colors. He's very in red and white. So maybe we have Mars as another house, but it's a different color of Mars.
Red Mars?
Red, white. Well, the flag he's holding in behind is red, white, and green.
It's like the right Kit Kat versus the left Kit Kat?
I mean, kinda, but I mean, not really at all. But like, I don't know. Like, I think that could be a fun idea. To have a house that's split that has 2 very different identities.
Or they're just trying to figure out a way to totally change what Mars is doing, and they're like, oh, we'll just make this Rebel Mars.
Fine.
And now Mars can have a new identity.
That's more than likely the case. I think it would be fun to have 2 different houses. But I mean, from the spoiler, it would appear we're getting token creatures, which is a thing that's...
Mars, yeah, who knows about token creatures? Like, I've seen some cool speculation with that 38th card. Could be like, each deck gets its own 38th random token creature.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that does sound really cool. But this doesn't say anything about house, like there's no rules, so who knows what a token creature is.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe token creatures belong to all houses. That would be kind of interesting. But he does read every... did you read it already? Each time a Mars card is discarded from your hand, make a token creature.
Yes.
So I mean, maybe it's from the house it's generated from. I think it would be kind of cool if all of a sudden you were able to create a bunch of tokens, and they belong to any house.
Yeah, except then they're going to be like toads.
Right. Oh, what? You think the token creatures can't reap? They can just fight?
Yes.
No.
Right, it's going to be 0/1 or 1 power creature, and it can only fight. Oh boy, joy token creatures.
Well, because we do have a problem in Winds of Exchange that we might not have seen of. So obviously, when they released the statement and said Winds of Exchange is a thing that's coming, we got a glimpse at the box art. And you can see on the left-hand side the houses that are there and the obvious houses that are missing. We have Sanctum. We have Fish Guys.
Unfathomable.
Fish Guys. We have Star Alliance. We have a Mystery House.
Why didn't you call them space dudes
I could have.
and
Okay.
ladies
Space
and undetermineds or
space people.
asexuals or
Space people or
okay,
space
yeah, space folk.
Space folk. I like that. Space folk.
Okay.
An undetermined house. A
We know what the house is.
I guess these are. Well, hold on. Calm down over there. We have I don't know, green space folk, dinosaurs, and Brobnar.
Let's talk about Brobnar. I'm excited for Brobnar to be back in the set.
Why?
So, Brobnar has always had some of the coolest cards that we talked about earlier. Might Makes Right, Flex, sort of powers fire, whatever, the one that burns up all the amber based off creature power.
Burn the stockpile? No.
Now, anyways,
I know which one you're talking about.
They've had some very cool power related things, and they've only been in sets where the next most powerful house is Sanctum, and Sanctum stinks. So if you get a Sanctum Brobnar,
that's not true. They were in Worlds Collide.
The worst Brobnar.
I mean, they were bad.
But think about the power of Might Makes Right and Flex in a set with even the possibility of Flex with some of these ridiculous fish people. If they stay strong like they are now and they can be Mavericked, like Maverick, some of the stuff Maverick could be really good. Might Make Right would be really good with some of those houses because those other houses do things instead of just be meaty bodies that don't do anything. So I don't know. I think Brobnar could come around and actually be good because it could actually synergize with the other houses where it doesn't do that really well in the other sets.
I hope you're right.
I'm excited.
I know. I hope you're right. I just see Brobnar. I mean, I hope it's not Worlds Collide Brobnar coming back.
Oh boy, I hope it's not Worlds Collide Brobnar.
That was brutal and bad, and really, really bad.
Really bad.
But we do have the new house coming in. What's the name of the new house?
I called that right when on one of our AMA questions. I said that's what I wanted was a Ferengi house.
The
all about the space
AMA
dollars
we did before this. You said I want a Ferengi house.
All and about the space dollars.
You got a trading house. What are these guys called?
It's too wordy for my mouth.
Mm-hmm. We have it written down. I don't know if you want to check the notes. Equidon.
Mm-hmm.
No bells, nothing. No.
I know.
Dan, you're killing me.
All Ewok said was him and his wife both agree the name of that house is terrible.
It is terrible.
I don't disagree. So we will call them Ferengi because I
do like the
Star
idea
Trek nerd.
of calling them Ferengi. I'm all on board for that, like 110%.
So I do wonder what their mechanic is going to be. Is it going to be a lot of whisper-like effects? Spend an amber, do something cool. Like, is that going to be what it is.
So
It's going to be...
anyways, the name, before we get too far, because Dan kind of just sidestepped that he doesn't even know the name.
Yeah.
It's the Compacts
I
of
don't care what the
Equidon,
name.
otherwise known as the Ferengi.
It's a COE.
They even, you know what's funny?
It's a cab over engine truck.
You want to know what's funny is they even have like the big ears, like the Ferengi. It's just one giant ear, like on top of their head.
There are no new ideas.
Do you see that or no? Is it just me?
I don't know. I'm looking at a lesser octet.
Oh no! Oh, you're not looking at the box art.
Mm.
Okay. Well, he's got like a like an ear, and one's facing up and one's facing down. So they kind of do have like these giant ears, like the Ferengi do. So maybe they are Ferengis.
Yes.
Just in a different form. But it sounds like they are the idea behind them is they are a trading house. So is it like,
or are they going to have a lot more? Could they have more Merkins-like effects, where trading is by me using your cards or you using my cards?
that could be extraordinarily fun. Like,
And crazy random, which is a ton of fun, but is also makes the game
that's
way
like
less
high risk, high reward.
competitive. Yeah,
That's super high risk, high reward. Like, okay,
so
because now I'm thinking, like,
I would play it.
because here's the deal, like, okay, so if you're saying, like, I get to use, like, a Merkins type effect, where I get to use your cards, right? Not only am I getting, like, I guess it depends on what happens with the card afterward, but, like, I get to use one of your cards, so not only are you a card down, I got an advantage of one of your cards, and it's more than likely out of house. More than likely. I mean, there are, 10 houses now? Or is this 11?
I
think this might be 11.
Oh, welcome to Archon's Corner, where we talk about Keyforge and don't know how many houses there are.
We make names, so let's see. Let's count them out right now. Sanctum, Unfathomable, Star Alliance,
There were
Mars.
7, and they added 2, that makes 9.
Yep.
And they
added 1, which makes 10, and then they're adding 1 more, which makes 11.
Yes.
Man.
You're good. You knew it. It was 11.
It was either 10 or 11. I knew it was either 10 or 11. I mean, Ewok leaves for a week or for, a couple months. Everything goes to hell. Cats and dogs living together.
I decided to sell my house, so my Keyforge focus has been
little out there.
Little out there.
So, but this is going to be the 11th house. So, I like the idea. I just think that might be a little too powerful. That might be a little game breaking. But then But on the other side, we are losing 3 houses.
Yeah, serious houses, right? Like,
big
this
ones.
is like, we have just lost Z.
Yeah, actually, you did just lose Z.
Yeah.
There is no logos, which means really speed of the deck. I mean, Star Alliance does have a lot to do with speed, and we don't know what any of the cards are, but, like, logos really drove speed of decks. And we don't have that anymore.
Yes. We're definitely the masters of efficiency.
So no more speed. We lose shadows, which I don't really know if I'm that sad to lose shadows right now.
They have lost power.
They were neutered.
But
after Coda, they just went, you're not going to be good.
Coming back to Coda, I don't think the typical Coda steel set is not strong enough to stand up to the new version of this game. It's okay, but I don't think Coda steel keeps up anymore. I mean, there are definitely like crazy power sets with 4 routine jobs and stuff, but I actually don't think Coda really has more steel than the other sets. Is just Coda was more evenly feels, and this is all feels, right? Like, I don't have any stats to go with me, but it feels more evenly distributed across the cards. A lot of 1 steel in that set, like a ton of 1 steel in that set, where in the later sets, there's a bunch of stuff that didn't really steal at all, and then stuff that would steal 1 or 2. So the good shadow sets and other sets were, the multi-Ronnie decks or a bunch of Rad Pennies.
I feel like after AOA, like Worlds Collide Shadows is okay. Middle of the houses. And then like once we got like I think we kind of saw Shadows return to form a little bit
It's better.
with like Bonithings and the
Bone
ability
Nithings
to
and Red Pennies, they're real good.
and the ability to bounce them too, like bounce back to hand
Yeah.
and replay and hide and all that stuff. And then like I don't know what happened in Dark Tidings. Like they went to pirate theme and they lost their mind. Like I don't know. Like there's some good Shadows cards out there, but like I don't know how well, Dark Tidings isn't really competitive to begin with, but I don't know if Shadows is one of the houses I'm looking for when I open a Dark Tidings deck.
It is if it's an evil twin deck.
It is. This is true. But like
evil
still I'm looking
Archons
for
are a real thing, but they're just too rare to be a serious thing.
I mean, I got a deck with 2 of them, but the rest of the deck sucks, which just makes it kind of all junky. Like, oh, this house is great, but the rest of the houses are just kind of garbage. So, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I think next week we should do some more compacts of Equidon and kind of figure out what they are. I mean, they're a trading house. We know that much. I love your idea. I love the idea of like they are Ferengi because they're all about that space dollars. I mean, you can see the guy is covered in amber. So,
what else could they do? They could have more gated effects, so more cephalist style effects, where it says if you have this amount of amber, you can do something. Like that's sort of monetarily related effect, although I wouldn't really call it trading.
Didn't we?
No, not a lot of it, right?
Well,
There's Cephalus. How many other cards?
Fandangle. Oh no, he needed mutants, didn't he? Not Ember.
Yeah.
No, Pissmear needed mutants. Didn't it say wasn't Fandangle if you have 4 or more Ember?
Yeah, Fandangle's if you have 4 or more. Yeah, so they could have more gated effects like that.
Okay.
Like I said, there could be more whisper style effects. But what we're really doing what I'm doing right now, is going through cards and saying, well, that's a trading style effect. So they could build a whole house around this. Like Cloggin pointed out, Anita the Trader, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give away your artifacts, get $2. So trading has definitely existed in Keyforge. And, cross-house, other houses doing the thing that your house is known for is not abnormal. So the fact that there's like onesie, twosies of these in other houses is no big deal. But, it's, I don't know. Like, if there's a lot of stuff that requires you to have amber, it's going to make for a really bad early house.
Unless there's a lot of ember in it. Unless there's a lot of pips. Like, cards just in general have more pips. Like, I'm not saying, like, they have 3 and 4 pips. But if all their cards are, like, have a pip, and then it says... And then the card says, give up 1 amber to do something, like, that's the same card. That's almost just the same card as saying, just do this. Right? I guess you sort of get the choice. Oh, I could have the amber and not get the effect. Or I can just have the effect. It's just like turning a bunch of ore cards that do, take 1 amber or do the card effect. That would be boring. That would not be good card design. Well, maybe it's gain 3 ember or do this, do that. I don't know. Like, I'm...
Yeah, no, that's just...
I'm curious.
I'm saying my idea of where you spend amber. Like, I actually, as I sit here and think about it, it doesn't sound like a game design, so hopefully that's not what they did.
We'll have to wait and see. I found that chart. So Shadows in Coda, it was a chart of deck levels with power, decks with power levels 4 to 8. Yep. Coda Shadows had 78. AOA Shadows had 62, which was, I mean, head and heels. Basically, we see the same 3 houses, at least the first 2 sets, which is Dis, Logos, Shadows. You see that through Coda and AOA. And then we have a little switch up in Worlds Collide.
Are we talking, what is that, power level 4?
Power levels 4 through 8.
So, I mean, you're really talking about
anything that's ever
Worlds
top
Collide.
16 in
Yeah,
a...
but Worlds Collide really only got a few chances, and then after that, the only way to get any of those other decks up there was by hanging ridiculous numbers of chains on them.
Yep.
So, like...
But I just think
Right,
it's funny because I'm looking at this. So, like, Coda Brobnar's at the bottom. It's tied with Sanctum at 27%. AOA, Sanctum's tied with Mars. Kind of more, still bottom 3 at 38%. And then we go into Worlds Collide, and it's 18%. And I think that 18% legitimately is just Drazkor's deck. Like, that's it. I don't think there's any... I think that's... I really honestly think that's it. Prove me wrong. Anyways, but the top 3 in that is Saurian, Logos, Star Alliance, and you got Dis at a very... Weirdly enough, Dis is trailing in the 4th position, so... And no mass mutation numbers, obviously, because, like you said, you'd have to hang an unreasonable amount of chains on the deck for any of that to happen. Which would just
means it's probably going to have Logos in it.
Right, which is more than likely just going to have Logos in it. So, Dan, I want to thank you. You've cleared my anxiety a little bit today. I was really anxious about this sale. Like, this really kind of... It struck me, and I was just like, oh. So, thank you. And chat, thank you. Obviously. Not so much Cloggin, but everyone else, thank you. So, should we move?
What friendly, lovely people we are.
Well, I mean, Cloggin also posted the things. That just made my anxiety go through the roof. I'm like, they're going to get rid of it. Don't do it. So, let's move into final thoughts. Dan, what do you got for final thoughts, my man?
You know what? Even sucking at Keyforge by playing AOA, Keyforge is still the most fun I have had ever playing a game, and I'm going to keep doing it.
Yep.
So keep playing Keyforge, because, I mean, really, I was thinking about it a little bit here, is if Keyforge actually fizzled out and died, besides crying and building a real big bonfire, I don't have a single other game that interests me in investing this kind of time in. There's nothing out there. Like, I'd have to get my Warhammer 40K out, I guess, and that doesn't really sound that good to me either.
And painting takes a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, painting takes a long time.
Yeah, or you can just suck at it. That's always an option too.
That's always an option too. But
2-color tournament ready.
Is that
Space
what the
Marine.
rules are? 2 colors?
At the very base level, yes. It's often
I've never
2-color.
tournamented a 40K army, so I would have no idea. But I want to thank everybody in the chat. Do appreciate you. We'll be moving into the normal chat here shortly to just kind of do the after show fun stuff. Thank you, obviously, to all of our patrons. You guys can find us at Archon's Corner, over on Twitter, on the Facebook, on YouTube as well. And hey, maybe you guys maybe you want to buy a shirt, rep the brand, for the brand. You guys can find that over on... Dan, where do we sell shirts?
Spreadshirt.
Spreadshirt.com, which is also Archon's Corner. So, with that being said, we'll see y'all next week.
So much to mention, but you can't find the words. The sentence.